I dreamt that I was living in a city, a round city that was walled, and there was a tyrannical king that ruled there. But they knew that out in the desert there was a thing that holy men guarded.
So, I mean, for the last several years, 25 or so years, I've been working and practicing within traditional African medicine predominantly, and working with groups, and that's gradually moved into working with environmental people.
The red knit that I wear in the ritual has great significance to me, as it is part of my process that I feel I've been in for the last year and a half. Knitting a simple scarf like this is a meditative practice which really calms and contains a disrupted nervous system.
What Hanien wanted to do was step back from her role as an artist and invoke more of the ritualistic in her work, and so we found a symbiosis in that. I was really touched by JP, his intention for the land, and it's his desire to explore ways of working with art particularly, but within, you know, a relationship, and relating to the land and relating to the place and listening to the place and asking into it and finding out what it's asking for in a way from us. So the circle is one of the oldest human symbols we have, and it symbolizes commune, essentially. In a broader sense, it also symbolizes cycles. So the cycles of the sun, the moon, the cycles of the stars, the cycles of seasons, the cycles of the menstrual process in a woman, the cycles we go through in life. So everything is cyclic, and what we've tended to do in our Western world is flatten cycles out into a linear framework with a beginning and an end. Which is why terminality has become such an issue in our modern world. And so I hold this deep belief that returning to a recognition of the cyclic nature of existence and taking that flattened line and bringing it back into a circle is really important. So we settled on the circle as a kind of a primary motif. It's an old, you know, in the San people, in the Bantu traditions, right across Africa, up into Siberia, across to South America, it's native Australia. This notion of movement in a circle is very universal. It's universal to being human, and it's universal to some kind of intended gesture that has a generative commune aspect to it. And so that's what we wanted to bring into the community, and to bring commune in the community within that, as the sun was rising, as the new was coming into being, as the fire of the future was building, essentially, in the East. And then what we wanted was the energy of the whole thing to be dispersed to the land, which is why right at the end we invited people to pick up a stone, take it, and place it somewhere on the land to spread the energy back into the land, because really the ritual, or the process, the art performed, the whole thing was really for this place. We wanted it to be for this place.
For me, it is the fear of death. It is the insignificance and the lack of purpose that I feel, and just the awesomeness, in the real sense of the word, of being human and being alive and being part of such an intelligent network of beings that makes up our ecosystem.
So we had the two circles, And the one circle we decided would be representative of the gestative and the fertility of brewing, essentially, of gestating something. The other circle, much smaller, was the masculine principle, which brings the activating principle in.
For me, the ritual was mainly about showing the desert its beauty, being present to the desert and its vastness, and to face my fear of vast spaces and darkness. And we sat the whole night and prayed and sang special chants, and it turned out to be an extraordinary and beautiful experience that I'll never forget. And I feel whole now. I feel like I've made a full circle, and I also feel like we've given something back to the land, and we've seen the land. Last time I heard the land, all my work was about hearing the land and bringing rain, and this time it's about also seeing the land and again bringing rain, which is a symbol of healing and fertility as well.
I believe as a collective and as a world that we're reaching the end of a phase of our human collective and we're entering into another. Thomas Berry referred to it as the movement from the Holocene to what he calls the Ecocene. So the Ecocene is where we become more conscious of our role, or we return to a consciousness of our role within nature and as a generative participant in nature, rather than the world being a resource for human consumption.